Your life began the day it nearly ended. We found you with no memory. We made you one of us. So you could live longer, stronger, superior. You were reborn.
I keep having these memories. Something in my past is the key to all of this.
You know how to fly this thing?
We'll see.
That's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Would you like to know what you really are?
I think I had a life here. What aren't you telling me?
You've come a long way, but you're not as strong as you think.
Aloha! This is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man. And Friday night, opening night, Captain Marvel, Marvel's latest, newest movie, first feature featuring a all-female hero. And, well, I went ahead and I saw it, and this is my review. Remember our rating scale, shock a thumbs up, it's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down, it's bad to see, it's junk, I don't recommend it. And despite all the hype and bad press that Brie Larson has gotten with this movie, all based on some misrepresentation of her comments, you know, taken out of context and stuff, I have to give it a strong shock a thumbs up. This is a pretty good movie, definitely on par with Thor Ragnarok and Doctor Strange. You know, it's no Avengers, nor is it, you know, definitely not an Infinity War or Endgame in itself. But it is a very, very good movie. And you should definitely go ahead and check it out, especially if, you know, for continuity of the overall MCU universe, you know, for the Marvel universe. There are a couple of Easter eggs in this at the end. You know, the end screen credits. You get like 2 or 3 of them, essentially. I'll tell you when the spoilers start over here. But at the moment, let me just say that, again, it is a shock a thumbs up. This stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn, and Jude Law. And, you know, throughout the movie is scattered Annette Bening. So it is an all-star cast. Right there. Whenever you can see, you know, maybe Dumbledore duking it out with, you know, in the Marvel Universe, that's quite a crossover right there. Maybe even on the level of Infinity War itself. Other than that, let me just say, I'm going to go ahead and go into some spoilers now. For you guys who are not familiar with Captain Marvel, you know, she started out in the Marvel comics back in the 70s, I believe, called Miss Marvel, and that's where I had known her as. But her feature didn't do very well. Basically, you know, Captain Marvel has a long history in the Marvel Universe. But it was a male character, an alien, a Kree alien called the Kree, who, you know, Krees possess special powers such as strength and stamina and limited invulnerability, kind of on the level of Asgardians. You know, but, you know, strength may vary per person. You know, but essentially, especially in the comics, they're pretty strong, at least on the level of Spider-Man standing alone. You know, so they could easily lift cars most of the time. Miss Marvel could lift cars and fly. She got a couple of her special Kree abilities from the original Captain Marvel, who was a male character, again, who had died in the Marvel Universe but through, passing his DNA, genetic material, and thus his Kree blood, essentially, to Miss Marvel, through an accident where they were, an explosion where they were in the vicinity together, is how she had gotten her powers. That DNA had transferred to her. Very much kind of a son of a gun scenario in that case. But yes, and through time, she had actually had her powers stolen by the X-Men Rogue, who actually wasn't an X-Men at the time, but was working for the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, I believe. And she had stolen Carol Danvers' powers, her strength, her stamina, the ability to be somewhat invulnerable, and thus, became the Rogue that we know and love in the comics. Now, that being said, the Rogue that we never saw in any of the Fox's iterations of Rogue, but we always wish we had. So after that, she also took her memories, so she was somewhat amnesic, Carol Danvers, and decided to, I don't know how this happened, went into space or actually she disappeared out of the Marvel Universe for quite some time, but next being seen having gone into space, teaming up, I believe, with the Starjammers. Again, this is in the X-Men era, and she was associated at that time with the X-Men, formerly the Avengers, and she became known as Binary, and this is where we see the Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel character with the powers that she has when she was in binary form, the ability to fly through space at almost faster than light speeds, project fantastic energy blasts, etc. And it's interesting that this movie, that Marvel did as much before, again, this was written before the Fox takeover, before Disney took over Fox and was planning to integrate the X-Men. In doing so, they obtained the rights to the Skrulls for the famous Skrull-Kree wars and rivalry that had always gone on in the Marvel comics. But in doing so, since they didn't have the rights to the Skrulls, being the Skrulls were mainly associated with the Fantastic Four, again at the time a Fox property, they had to, basically they struck the deal that yes, they allowed them to use, Fox to use Mega Sonic Teenage Warrior in Deadpool for the rights to use the Skrull. And so essentially they're using the Skrulls here in a limited capacity, and it is altered from the comics. I guess maybe because Marvel didn't know how long they'd be able to have the Skrull, or to make it a full epic version like the comics, at least for the time being, they didn't have the rights to them. Well, now they have the rights, and so that could change in the future, but currently, again, this is spoilers, the Skrulls are changed from being the ultimate bad guys to basically the Kree being the ultimate bad guys in this, which is a nice twist for this movie, and the Skrulls being persecuted refugees, basically. There's no other way to say it. And Ben Mendelsohn gives his greatest performance that I've seen him in this role, covered in this rubber mask of a Skrull mask. His journey, his people's journey, the Skrulls' journey, are excellent, and they did a really bang-up job. And again, special effects were not spared any cost in this movie, as you see Coulson and especially Samuel L. Jackson share most of the screen with that de-aged, computer-generated face, which looks fabulous. Top-notch. So, he's as young as ever, running around with Brie Larson. So, yes, you cannot beat this movie just on that alone. So this takes place in the 90s, and, one of the Easter eggs, end credit scenes, is that, Captain Marvel gave him, Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury, the idea for the Avengers project, basically, or at least the name, the Avengers, as he was going to call it the Protectors initially, but switched to the Avengers due to something he, associated with Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel in this version gets her powers almost the same way. I have to say that I like the twist with Annette Bening that they made her the original Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was a white, blonde man at the time, but Annette Bening fits with the short hair, blonde, that looked pretty much like male Captain Marvel. I mean, other than the gender. I mean, but a strong, character, period. Not just a strong male or a strong female character. Wishing to help others and to end, the dispute between the Kree and the Skrulls. Seeing what it really is as just persecution of the Skrulls. Very much kind of like this original Captain Marvel wanted to do to, push for peace throughout the galaxy and the universe. So yes. And Brie Larson is caught in this explosion next to her, but instead of getting genetic material, she does get some genetic material. Her powers resonate and come from, the engine, the ship itself that the original Captain Marvel was on and designing. And that power, cosmic almost, is absorbed of the drive. As we find out, the powers of the Infinity Stone, the Infinity Gem, of the Tesseract, majority of it is absorbed into Brie Larson's character, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and that gives her the ungodly, the godly power that she possesses. But again, if you're familiar with the comics, this is nothing, what she displays in this movie is nothing that we haven't seen with Thor Ragnarok, realistically. The strength, the ability to survive space. She just does it a little bit better, takes it up just a little bit of a notch, or even potentially what we could see from Hulk once he's unbound, truly unbound. As far as what he did tearing apart most of the Chitauri in New York City in the Avengers. So to say that she's an overpowered Marvel character, I'd have to disagree with, especially with Thor using his new hammer, axe, Stormbringer, can definitely stand up to Captain Marvel and do basically what we have seen him, seen her do in this movie. So I don't believe it's overpowered at all. And this is a fun movie. Definitely, it pushes female heroism, but it's not out of place. Nothing that we haven't already seen before, maybe with the Black Widow. Just somebody standing up for what's right is what it is. Doesn't matter if they're a man or a woman, so it should not be prejudiced or prejudged on just, hey, this is a female character, they're changing everything. It's like, no, she was always a female character, this version, Carol Danvers of Captain Marvel. To change the original Captain Marvel to a female isn't a big deal, since we don't really have much of a history other than a few flashback moments with her and Brie Larson, Annette Bening and Brie Larson. So, it's all manageable in that fact, and it still kind of works because pretty much Annette Bening resembles the original Captain Marvel. The short hair, like I said, kind of the slim build, maybe not as muscular, but Captain Marvel wasn't, his powers really didn't come from his muscles per se. All right, well, that's about all I have to say. It is a good shock, a thumbs up. Definitely check it out when you can. They're estimating anywhere from 90 million to 160 million, and with Captain Marvel possibly reaching into the $1 billion level. I'm not sure if it'll get to $1 billion, but I have heard that lots of people have talking that women, daughters, mothers are going to see this movie in mass, and overall it is a good Marvel movie. It does bring up some questions about the Tesseract, how it is in this movie from where we had seen it in the first Avenger with Captain America, and then thus with Loki. So that does bring up some questions. And then additionally, what the heck, the silliness with Fury's eye and how he gets it. I'm not sure if I agree 100% with that, but that's the way they do it. All right, thank you so much. This is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, here at Bishop Museum, Oahu, Hawaii, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the whole island of Oahu here in Hawaii. All right, thank you so much, and aloha.